What is up, everybody? Today is Friday morning, September 17th, not October 18th. Tom, what's up?
Not much, man. How are you? Honestly, I saw your string of texts, and I got home a little late last, so I woke up at like 9:30. And I saw your string of texts, and my half awoken brain was like, "Oh, okay, we're going at 10:30." So I went back to sleep. Then I was like, "Wait, there were more texts." So I woke up and read them. I'm like, "Oh crap."
Yeah. So that was nice. I don't know how I got that mixed up. It's not even like today's September 18th. It's the 17th. I walked in and she was like, "What's your name?" I was like, "Justin Brownlow," and she's like, "You're not on the list." And I checked my chart thing. I was like, "Yep, not for another month." That's good though. So,
should you in if the office wasn't that busy?
I mean, I don't know. Whatever. I live at the doctor's office half the time, anyways. So we're back with another edition of Pick'em Friday. We are brought to you by sneakerheadgolf.com. Use the code TB15 to check out to get 15% off. That's our buddy Tom. They got golf cover heads and just all kinds of stuff. Tom's 23 hats, different things. Check it out. Use TB15 to check out, 15% off. Before we get started today, I want to start out with a quote. Gambling is a disease, but it's the only disease that you can win a lot of money.
Hell yeah.
Norm McDonald, rest in peace. You're probably a little too young. I'm even a little bit too young. But him on Celebrity Jeopardy was hilarious, and Saturday Night Live. So he was funny, and I always thought that was funny. So rest in peace to him. And he's right. That's a great quote. We have a big weekend coming up. We got Bryce Young and Alabama traveling to Florida, who we don't really know who's going to be playing quarterback for them. Probably both of Emory Jones and Anthony Richardson, but we'll see. And then one that kind of snuck up on me as well in college. I did not know Auburn was coming to Penn State this weekend. I think there's a lot of things to talk about with Penn State, especially James Franklin with the USC news coming out. And then on the NFL side, the Browns are in a pretty much must-win situation for me. I know people may think I'm overreacting, but if they can't beat the Texans at home, it's bad. So, and then probably your best chance in, 5-6 years to beat the Patriots. So,
hopefully, that is the goal.
Yeah, you could start them out 0-2 for the first time since 2001. But they also won the Super Bowl when they started out 0-2, so I don't really want to see that again. So instead of today in sports history, we're just going to do our little recap of the 2007 college football season. I don't know how much you remember about this, Tom, but some of these things I'm going to read, there's some crazy things that come out of it. So the 2007 college football season, obviously, the year of the upset, it was the craziest year ever. Every year we pray for this kind of stuff. It all started in week 1 Appalachian State, went to the Big House, beat Michigan. I was up at Lake Chautauqua with my buddy, and he was a Michigan fan, so I got to laugh at him all weekend. Every time I watch that block kick, it's just it's mind numbing to me because the left side of the line just didn't block. They just didn't block. It was an open hole to run through. So that was fun. But yeah, so Michigan went down, and then in week 4, Georgia and Michigan had already lost to unranked opponents, like I said, but they Michigan pulled off the upset. They beat number 10 Penn State, and Georgia knocked off Alabama in week 4. I don't think Alabama was as good. They were like John Parker David or someone was their quarterback. So I don't even know if he was there yet. He might have been at LSU. In week 5, our favorite frauds went down. Colorado nailed a field goal as time expired to beat number 3 Oklahoma. And week 6, possibly the most important moment in Jim Harbaugh's life. He was the coach of an average Stanford team. They were ridiculously outmanned and outgunned, and they went to knock off number 2 USC that weekend. Pretty big upset, even one that I don't think anyone ever saw coming. And then in week 7, our first number 1 went down. Number 1 LSU was taken down by Kentucky in triple overtime. Also, the Cal was ranked 2nd. They had lost to Oregon State by 3 that week as well. In week 8, South Florida was the number 2 team in the nation. But then they played Greg Schiano and Rutgers on a Thursday night in Rutgers and lost on a 51-yard field goal. I still remember that game. It was awesome. But this is also where it starts to get a little wacky. The number 2 ranked team lost 7 times in the final 9 weeks. So it's the kiss of death. All right. And then in week 9, South Florida had then fallen to number 10, but they were beaten that weekend by UConn, 23rd ranked UConn, and UConn can't even field a team today. So how things have changed, how the mighty have fallen. In week 10, the pressure got to Matt Ryan and Boston College as he threw 3 picks and they lost to Florida State when they were ranked number 2. And then in week 11, maybe the biggest Big Ten upset in, 20, 30 years. Illinois came into the Horseshoe and beat Ohio State 28-21. In week 12, do you remember Dennis Dixon? I doubt you do. Well, he got hurt. In number 2, Oregon lost to Arizona, and then the frauds were back at it again. Oklahoma lost to Texas Tech. And then week 13, maybe the best of all, behind Felix Jones, Derrick Henry, and Peyton Hillis, all 3 of those guys were in the same backfield at Arkansas, which is insane to think about. They knocked off number 1 LSU 50-48. But one of the other things to note this year is that Kansas was good this year. Well, they weren't good. The rest of the teams were bad, but they got up to number 2, but then they lost right away. So Arizona State also lost that weekend, Oregon and Texas. They weren't back even back then. And then conference championship weekend, the newly minted number 1 Missouri and Chase Daniel lose to our fraudsters, Oklahoma, in the Big 12 championship game. What?
Chase Daniels.
Yeah.
Jesus.
And then West Virginia had climbed up to number 2 in the charts or in the rankings. Side note, West Virginia was the most fun team to ever play with, especially with this group of players in like NCAA 07. Pat White, Steve Slayton, and Noel Devine. Noel Devine was like 99 speed. Pat White was like 95 speed and could throw bombs, and Steve Slayton was just awesome. But they lost that weekend to the rival Pittsburgh, who was also then coached by the idiot that is Dave Wanstead, the old Dolphins coach. And then in Ohio State would claim the number 1 spot at the end of the year, with LSU climbing 5 spots in the final week to get to number 2. LSU beat the shit out of Ohio State in the national championship game. All right. So of all the things I said, what stuck out to you most?
The fact that at one point in time, Kansas was number 2.
Yes, when I like, obviously it was a crazy season, but when I was like looking at the page last night, I was like, really just the fact that UConn first was ranked at one point at this point, and Kansas was up to number 2. Yeah, they had one good season. They had I can't remember the quarterback's name. It was like Tommy Riesling or something. I don't know. And they had the big fat coach. It was awesome, but then they went back to terrible, and they're a joke of a program. So that's awesome. All right. So continuing with our trend to the 2007 season, Tim Tebow won the Heisman in the 2007. He and 3 other QBs, Dennis Dixon, Colt Brennan, rest in peace, and Chase Daniel were the finalists with 1 running back. Who was that running back? And he finished 2nd.
If I remember correctly, I want to say it was off that the Arkansas team. I forget if it's Felix Jones or Darren McFadden. So I'm going to go with Darren McFadden because he had a better NFL career.
Maybe. think you're grasping at straws there. I think they both kind of sucked. But yes, it was Darren McFadden. Yeah, I mean that offense. Well, I mean Peyton Hillis. I still can't believe he
Best
was a
of the
Brown.
group.
Yeah, like he was a Brown. He got on the Madden cover.
That's
like
what I forget on the Browns. That man was the Madden cover. He was the start of the Madden curse.
I don't know about the start of the Madden curse, but yeah, he was terrible. I mean, his arms were literally he was too strong to hold on to the ball. His biceps were too big.
Honestly, they should have had him as a fullback instead of a running back because that was really what he was meant to be.
I mean, they should have just run the triple option.
That's true.
All right. Into college football. My power rankings for the week. I have Alabama. What?
I didn't say anything.
I think you did. All right. I got Alabama at 1, Georgia at 2, Oregon 3, Iowa at 4, Oklahoma 5, Cincinnati 6, Clemson 7, 8, Penn State 9, Ohio State 10, Florida, and the next up, UCLA and Ole Miss. I basically put Florida in, so it looks like a top 10 matchup. I will get to when we get down to the picks, but I've been going back and forth on this line all week. Any thoughts on my power rankings?
I think you're a tad salty with Clemson, but I totally understand putting Cincinnati over them. So
Yeah,
I agree.
Unless there is a 2-loss team, I still don't think Cincinnati's getting in. So we'll see.
Yeah. Is Iowa really that good?
No.
Okay.
Well, no, we're gonna get to that, Tom. Stop teasing things.
I haven't read that one. I just asked a simple question.
Whatever. All right, and then my Heisman rankings, I have them like this: Bryce Young, C.J. Verdell, the running back from Oregon, Matt Corral, quarterback from Ole Miss, Spencer Rattler, number 4. He's going to drop out at some point. I just don't think he's that good. And then Chris Olave 5. And then the next ones up will be Kenneth Walker from Michigan State and Sam Howell. I mean, Sam Howell's the best quarterback in the country. So I mean, it's not even close. I don't know why people are obsessed with Spencer Rattler.
I don't either. Like, I agree 100%. Sam Howell should be the top quarterback off the board, unless Bryce Young can prove me wrong. But I don't even think he's eligible to be drafted this year.
No, he's a true freshman, so no.
Oh well, there you go.
Yeah. But yeah, I people just fall in love. I mean, I love Baker, but I mean, didn't win us the game last week, so can't count on those guys. And then I give a shout out to my guy Matt Jacobowski. He does the NFL draft and college football for me at Back Sports. His top prospects: Kayvon Thibodeau from Oregon, obviously. Derek Stingley Jr. from LSU, corner. Evan Neal, offensive tackle, Bama. Kyle Hamilton, safety, Notre Dame, and he has Spencer Rattler, 5 from Oklahoma. I agree. Kayvon Thibodeau's probably won't going to end up going number 1 because it'll probably. Well, you know what? Jacksonville could very well be the worst team.
The Jets. Let's not count the Jets at ever being the worst team.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I mean the Bears could be too. Yeah, I guess. Never mind.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he probably won't be the number 1 pick though. It's going to be a quarterback. Then I like I said, I like Sam Howell way more than any of these other quarterbacks. If I had to pick who I think second in pro prospect grade, I don't even think it would be Spencer Rattler. I still think it's I like Malik Willis more. And I like Carson Strong more as well. So
what about Slovis at USC?
His arm's gonna fall off before he gets to the NFL. I mean, he throws the ball 60 times a game.
That's true.
Yeah.
Then again, Trevor Lawrence threw 51 times in his opener. So.
Yeah, I mean, I just gotta say I don't think it's good to have 18-year-olds throwing 51 times. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't. I don't see it with Spencer Rattler. Like I said, Baker's been average, probably above average. Last year at the end of the year, he was above average, and he was average on Sunday. I mean, it's about well, nope, I forgot Kyler. Well, yeah, Kyler Murray came from there as well, but Kyler Murray really went to Texas A&M and then transferred. But yeah, I mean, just for what people.
Jalen Hurts looked good.
No, he didn't. I like Stingley. He's my third prospect still. I still think the guy 1 year younger than him, Eli Ricks, is better than him. He had a terrible year last year. I mean, I'll get into LSU when we get down to it, but I mean, still needs to have a good year. But either way, if he doesn't, he's going to be a first round pick. He has the build, he has everything, he has the tape, so he will be. Evan Neal, offensive tackle, I think. Yeah, I mean, he's the real deal. I think he's like 6'7". And then I really like Chris Olave. I think he's the best receiver in the draft. I think he's a lot like after we've seen Devonta Smith succeed. I guess it's only week 1, but since we've seen him succeed, I mean, Chris Olave is, I think, just as good. So, and then stock up, stock down. Aiden Hutchinson, edge player from Michigan. I don't know. I don't watch Michigan, but apparently he's skyrocketing up draft boards. I mean, that's just awesome. It's idiot. And then stock down, George Pickens, Georgia. I honestly don't think this guy's played for I think he played his freshman season and hasn't played again. Hello. All right. Well, we lost Tom. All right. So obviously this weekend there are a ton of big games. Or not a ton, but it's a good slate. Can you hear me?
I was big on Pickens too.
Whoa. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Awesome. All right. Well, we'll see if Tom gets back in. I don't know. He's my trouble with his Wi-Fi. Mine looks good. But like I said, we got Bama going to Gainesville in the Swamp, taking on Florida. Dan Mullen, great quarterback coach, great developing quarterbacks. So we'll see. I also think he could be a dark horse contender for the USC job just because he has been so good at developing quarterbacks. Also, I'm not a fan of what Florida's been doing, and that is going back and forth and switching and using a 2 QB system, really, just to using a 2 QB system just because Dan Mullen can't make a decision. So, I think Bama's the better team. But I mean, obviously, Bama's a better team. I also think Anthony Richardson is the better quarterback, if you were to ask me. But Emory Jones has waited 4 years to be there, so he's going to see the field. They're both going to see the field. I think one of the biggest questions going in, and then you also have to realize that the freshman last year didn't have to deal with this. But a guy like Bryce Young, yes, he's in Alabama. Yes, he's composed. He's a great player. But he's still a true freshman, and it's the first big time SEC matchup we have this weekend. Gainesville is good. I'm very not happy this isn't a night game, except I know Florida really doesn't do night games. But the Swamp is going to be loud. It's going to be awesome, and it'll be interesting to see how Bryce Young handles that. Tom has rejoined us. How are you, Tom?
I switched my Wi-Fi, so I should be better.
Okay, There you go. You're on now.
Yeah, I switched my Wi-Fi. I should be good.
All right. So basically, I'm getting into the big games real quick, or not real quick. And I know I tweeted and I said, but I've been going back and forth on this line. It's Florida plus 14.5. I've been going back and forth on it all week. I don't know what to do. It hasn't moved off of 14 or 14.5 at all. I was hoping to get a catch break somewhere, but I think it's going to sit at 14.5. And if this was in Alabama, I think I would. If this was in Tuscaloosa, I think I would take them to cover. But Bryce Young's good, but he's young. He's going to make some mistakes. So and the Florida offense can't make you pay. So. I like Florida plus 14.5, and I like the over 16.5. I think there's going to be a lot of scoring in this one, kind of like it was last year in the SEC championship game. So, Tom, any thoughts on Bama, Florida, or Bama? Yeah, Bama, Florida.
No, I think you hit the nail really on the head. I agree that Florida's offense can be devastating if they're away in the game. So yeah, I agree with 100% what you said. I was really hoping that the game would go one way or another. In my pick'em pool at 15.5. So I think I took Florida just to cover because the extra point would mean a lot. But and a half, I really think it could be a 1-point game, or not a 1-point game, but a 14-point game.
Yeah, I agree. I actually I tend to think it's going
So
to
that
be.
1 point means
You're lagging. Just talk whenever you want if you can hear me.
yeah, I'm
Can you
good.
hear me?
Yeah.
You're not good.
Oh well.
It's fine. It's fine. But it's just if it's a delay, it's a delay. So, like I said, I like Florida. I like Florida plus 14.5. Like I said, it has not moved. Has not moved since Tuesday. I know that. So I like that, and then I like the over 60.5. Tom, what do you like there?
The over is probably in all state because, like I said, Florida's offense can put up points in a minute. So I love the over on that as well.
Yeah, and yeah, yeah. I mean, I will say this about Alabama. I think their defense is a lot better than last year's, but at some point, it just comes down to the fact that the better athletes usually play offense and receivers in that positions, stuff like that. So, because they want to score touchdowns, so whatever. And then kind of the forgotten game that I've been forgetting about, but and now am all back in on the first whiteout game of the year at Penn State tomorrow night. I think it's at 8:00 kickoff. It's got to be ESPN. If you don't watch sports or you don't watch anything, just tune in for like the first opening kickoff of the whiteout. It is like, and I love soccer stadiums. I love soccer fans. And I'm not a huge fan of Penn State. Obviously, they do terrible things and they're terrible human beings. But the whiteout is pretty spectacular. Wouldn't you agree, Tom?
I have a bunch of friends that go to Penn State. Penn State's a big college near us, and a lot of people of Penn State. And it is something different to witness and experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Keeping this going for a sec, Tom. I'm going to change my Wi-Fi real quick and see if it picks up. So,
all right. Yeah, I have a bunch of buddies that go to Penn State there. It's really amazing. Great atmosphere. Everything about it's fantastic. As far as the game will go, I Bo Nix is still the quarterback there. Is he? I think Bo Nix is still the quarterback, which is kind of crazy to me because I was a big fan of Bo Nix when he was like a freshman, like an actual freshman. Just I don't know. Is Bo Nix still the quarterback at Auburn?
yeah. I feel like he's only a junior.
I was like a huge fan of him when he went to Auburn and when he was a freshman, but like I'm so like uninspired by what he's done so far.
I mean, the only reason he's relevant is because his freshman year, that terrible Oregon-Auburn game that he threw that touchdown in. It's the only reason he's relevant. I like I said, he's only a junior, but I mean, he's obviously not going to go pro this year. I mean, who's going to draft him? But it just feels like he's been there forever. It's like Perry Ellis from Kansas basketball. I mean, he was there for 17 years. He was there from like my ages of like 15 to 25. So
yeah, well, and like it's unfortunate. I like Bo Nix, and I think he had the talent. It's just like Auburn hasn't been, so there's not a lot of exposure. For him.
Like you just flipped like the switch for a second, like and say, I don't know where Bo Nix is from, but I assume he's from the South and probably Alabama, maybe. I don't know. But Bo Nix would have probably eventually been a number one pick under Alabama, under Nick Saban. Like he would have probably been the number one pick. So it just goes to show that, I don't know. So, yes, I did want to talk about this. So obviously we talked a little bit about it. USC fired their coach on Monday, Clay Helton. I mean, his since he took the job, his seat was on fire, so it really didn't matter. I think James Franklin is a very, very likely and very he would be very interested in the USC job because I feel like with the USC job, it's not the same as other jobs, wherein is the fact that you live in Southern California, you live by LA, like you almost have to be a pseudo celebrity. Like Pete Carroll embraced it, like so. I think he would do that. I think he'd hook up with Keegan Michael Key and do like skits and stuff like that. I don't know if you've ever seen this. Yeah, I mean it's awesome, especially with I love Keegan Michael Key anyways, but when they you have to look, maybe you haven't seen it, but when they were all in the meeting room and James Franklin didn't come in, but it was Keegan Michael Key, and they did like a prank. They knew it wasn't him, but it was really funny. And I also, speaking of Keegan Michael Key, if you ever want to see something hilarious, it's obviously he does like the Obama, like Angry Obama or whatever, but the actual speech he gave oh my God, what was it? It was like the Met Gala, but it was one of those stupid ritzy New York thing that rich people put on for other rich people. And he had Keegan Michael Key with him being like his angry person. It's very funny. It's on YouTube. It's funny. Along with all of their skits are. I mean,
I love Key and Peele.
Yeah, I mean the East-West All-Star teams, awesome.
They're fantastic.
Oh, great. I with college football, with fans getting back, I think we really missed how big of an impact crowds can have. And I would say maybe a couple other places, but Penn State's whiteout is one of the. I mean, it has to be probably the worst environment to step into. I would think. With all that being 100%. said, Auburn. I like Auburn plus 5.5. Penn State's good. They're going to be at home. Sean Clifford is a joke. Jahan Dotson is awesome, but Sean Clifford really can't get him the ball. They should have lost to Wisconsin in week 1. Wisconsin just couldn't score. But so I like Auburn plus 5.5, and I would nail the under here. I mean, these two teams can't score. Bo Nix has been in college for 3 years and still can't score. So, what are your thoughts?
It's so unfortunate because I really like Bo Nix.
I hate Bo Nix.
I like Nix and I want him to do well, but Auburn not the environment that is going to work best for him. So I think again, I agree with you there. I think Auburn could cover. That's the only thing. I just don't trust Penn State's defense. Always a good defense, but in the biggest games they usually give up points, which I just really don't understand. But because it's versus Auburn, I think it could be a really good matchup. I think you're 100% right with the under, but again, 5.5. Like these people in Vegas, obviously they know what they're doing, but like they're almost too good at their job because I really do think it's going to be a 5-6 point game.
Yeah, I think it could be easily a field goal game. So that'll be interesting. Mm-hmm. On to the next, Cincinnati. Probably the two biggest. They have probably the two biggest games this season. Will be the two biggest games or at least one of them will be in Cincinnati history. But this weekend, and that's versus Notre Dame. Cincinnati plays Notre Dame, I think, in week 7, 8. I don't know. But Cincinnati is going into Indiana. This one is way too easy for me. Indiana was a fraud last year. They were benefactors of the circumstances, basically, and they played 3 decent quarters of football against a mediocre Ohio State team, and people wanted to crown them champions. I think they got up to like number 8 in the AP poll. They're bad. That coach has no idea what he's doing. Fryfogel's a beast, but Michael Penix Sr. just isn't good. Cincinnati -3 all day, all day is what it was. But I'm taking the money line. I don't even think it's close. I honestly I would almost not want to put the points because I think they're just going to crush them. I really do.
Yeah, I think I actually was considering going down to IU for this game because it's only about 4 minutes from where I'm at now. So I thought it'd be really cool or whatever. But yeah, Cincinnati's going to kill him. I don't believe anything less. They could, you have the over is 50 here. I could see Cincinnati put fence on their own.
Yeah. I mean, Desmond Ridder is a beast. And I will say, I'm happy that Cincinnati got a guy like Luke Fickell, because if I'm USC, the only pretty much I have 3 choices and really 2 top choices. You can't. I mean, it's odd to go hire a Power 5 coach, but Luke Fickell's also coached at Ohio State for a full season. I mean, he knows what he's doing. He's proved what he knows he's doing at Cincinnati. He just would maybe you disagree, maybe you don't. He wouldn't fit in out west. He's a Midwestern guy, like Ohio, like the states. So I think that it's great that Cincinnati got him. I people got mad at me online. But I mean, obviously Ryan Day lost his first regular season game ever in 3 years last weekend. But I have a feel. I mean, Ohio State fans, if anything, are like Texas fans. They're like if you have 2 straight seasons of 2 losses, you got to go. But I love Ryan Day, so whatever. But I really do think Luke Fickell's going to stay around at Cincinnati for 2 or 3 more years, just hoping something comes up on Ohio State. So, yeah, I don't think he's jumping the ship to USC. And like I said, I think they beat Indiana easily and handily. These last 2 are. Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, I was just gonna say nothing points to saying anything else. It's gonna be Cincinnati big.
Yeah, I mean,
no evidence that you'll hang with them.
Yeah. All right. So Michigan State, Miami. Shout out to my guy, Kurt Stuber. He's an MSU guy. He asked me earlier in the week about what I thought about the line, and I told him straight up, and I'll say it right now, I told him I'm taking Michigan State money line. De'Aaron King is either hurt or something's bothering him or something, because if that's just his regular play, he can't be playing quarterback in a Power 5 school. He's not look good. Miami is overhyped every year. I mean, obviously you never want to – I mean, coming into the season and playing Alabama, why even show up week 1? Why even show up? Just go to week 2. Just forfeit and go to week 2. But I love Michigan State here. I didn't know this, but they got 20 transfers in from last year. Mel Tucker's doing a pretty good job now after taking over a program that was once again in the news yesterday when the gymnasts went to the Supreme Court or whatever. So, whatever. But yeah, I love Michigan State money line, and I love the under as well. Michigan State's got a good defense. They've always been a grinded out team. Like I said, Miami, I just don't think they're good. I really don't. I just don't think they're good. I don't think they're going to be good for a while. I don't think they're going to be good till they get a 5-star quarterback and a 5 stars. They need to start getting 5 stars again. I mean, the fact that it was 20 years ago and Miami had 10 first-round draft picks, they need to get back on track. I don't know why a blue we lost Tom. Hopefully he comes back. I just don't know why blue bloods like Miami put up with a guy like Manny Diaz for so long. You've had your seasons, you've gotten your guys in, your system clearly doesn't work. So yeah, like I said, I love Michigan State money line and the under. It's gonna be a grinded out game. It's gonna be awesome. All right, and then for our final big game of the weekend, which I mean, hey, if we were 30 years ago, this would be one of the best games of the weekend. It would be, it's just happening 40 years too late. So Nebraska at Oklahoma. Tom has joined us back again. Tom, welcome again.
This time, I guess StreamYard just didn't like my computer. It said something went wrong.
Yeah, it's done that to me, but you're clear now, so we're good.
I switched Wi-Fi's yet again, just in case.
Good, nice. Michigan State, Miami, what are your thoughts? Like I said, I just don't think Miami's good. I was saying it as these blue bloods, I almost respect what Texas does. And the fact they bring in these really big coaches, and if you don't live up to expectations, you got to go. I don't know why Michigan's dealing with Jim Harbaugh. It makes no sense. Like he's not going to he's not going to beat Ohio State this year. So why are they whatever? Like Miami, like why is Manny Diaz been like usually like back in like the early 2010s, like you got at least 3 years because then you got to get your guys in whatever. And I almost like it better like how it is now. Like if you don't perform to expectations, you're out. So you don't never want to take another man's job, but yeah. So Michigan State money line under 56.5. Anything from you, Tom?
I'm staying far away from that game in general because my brother goes to Miami, so like they're like very high on him.
Tom's brother.
Huh?
I said sorry, Tom's brother. I didn't mean to hate on your school, but if I were you, I'd start a petition to get him out of there.
He's just a freshman, so he doesn't know the pain just yet. But yeah, like I said, I'm staying far away from that game because I hear stuff from my brother and the hype from him and his friends, and then I go and I'm like, wow, they got absolutely shellacked when everyone thought they were going to be really good. So yeah. I'm staying far away from that game, just in general.
Yeah, of course. Of course. I mean, of course. And then this is what I was talking about when you came back in, Tom. This 40 years ago, 30 years ago would have been –
oh, yeah, classic.
Must-watch TV. Like, everyone will watch it. Nebraska at Oklahoma. I have a hot take. I think this is it for Nebraska. I think this is where they hit absolute rock bottom. I think they honestly lose like 63-0, like 70-0, like something bad. It's an old school rivalry. There's gonna be hatred. Like I think they lose big time. And I think this is the rock bottom for them. And I don't think Scott Frost makes the end of the season.
I don't know if you saw this because this person that I follow on Instagram and Twitter has gotten on ESPN a couple of different times, but her name's like Rusi Rower or something like that.
That's familiar.
I'll send you her Instagram page or this specific one. She did this little comedy bit after Oklahoma's loss in week 1, I think it was.
Oklahoma hasn't lost yet.
Huh?
Oklahoma hasn't lost yet.
Then
Nebraska's.
Oh, that's what I meant. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah.
And Nebraska's lost in the first week, and
week zero,
whatever.
Yeah, it was week 0. Come on, get it together.
I don't do college. There's preseason and then there's week 1. I hate the week 0 thing.
Well, it's more like there's preseason and then there's conference play, but keep going.
Right. She went into a Nebraska fan message board or Facebook group and she was like, oh yeah, guys, it's not Scott Frost's fault. He's the answer. This, that, and the other thing. And all of these people who are Nebraska fans are like, yeah. And then these 2 BS calls late in the game that changed the momentum and everything. Honestly, it's one of the funniest videos I've watched in a while because she's there completely like satirically or for satire. And everyone in there is taking everything she says serious. It was like, preach, girl. And I'm like, it was great. Honestly, I loved it.
Honestly, if you want to have yourself an afternoon, any of you out there, if you just want to have yourself a couple good chuckles in the afternoon, go on college football fans, like Reddit, like any of that stuff. You'll find some deeply disturbed people.
Rodin, not Roder. I said Rodin. Lucy Rodin.
Okay, I'll look her up afterwards. Like I said, this game would have been great 30 years ago. Honestly, now I just don't have any interest in watching it. I like Oklahoma minus 22 and the under 61.5. I mean,
see, but like you said before when we first started talking about the game, they could put up 63 points.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Well, you think that they're going to hold Nebraska scoreless? Is that like almost a guarantee?
No, I think they hold up under 10.
Okay. So is it safe to say that Oklahoma could put up 50?
Yeah.
Okay, so then that 10 points there gets you to around 60. Oh,
Tom, I already made my pick. I'm not listening to you.
I'm just saying.
I hear what you're saying, but this guy had a great week last week, so we'll talk about it. But now it's time to move into the NFL Week 2. I figured we briefly, talk about our teams real quick. This is a must-win game for the Browns. If they don't win, I'm probably going to drink bleach and drive off a bridge, probably. Sunday could be an all-time epic failure of a day for me, with Manchester United starting at 9 a.m., basically leading into the fantasy show, which we'll obviously talk about later, and then right to the Browns. So there's a decent chance that from like 9, because the first half of the Browns game, I think it'll be somewhat close. So like from 9 o'clock to like 2:30, just don't talk to me other than on the show, and I'll do my best not to be angry. But yeah, it could be an ultimate letdown week for me, especially after Manchester United already lost the young boys. So whatever, it's a football podcast though. Oh, well, football. Okay, whatever. So it's a must win. I don't think we've really talked about it, or maybe we have. I don't know. I'm done with Odell. I'm done. I'm just done. Like at this point, like if Odell is a young, like 23, 22-year-old guy that like, yeah, you don't want to risk his future for his hamstring. I'm done. Like, I think I know I said all offseason they should have traded him in the offseason for a defensive player or just a draft pick or a young player. I mean, Anthony Schwartz, like I will say, I mean, it was a small sample size, very small sample size, but he showed us that he's A, faster than Odell, and B, can pretty much take the place of Odell. So, and then obviously Donovan Peoples-Jones didn't get that many catches or targets on Sunday, but he had a really, really good camp and a really, really good preseason. So, yeah, I'm just done. I'm done with Odell. I don't get it. He's almost – I think he's like 30, 31. Like, at best, you're going to be a top wide receiver for 2 or 3 more years, like maybe. I'm just not it's very frustrating because I just look at it, I'm like, we could have gotten another linebacker for him. Like we could have got something, and now he's just going to sit on the bench. And it's almost to a point now where it's not a small sample size that the team just plays better without Odell. Like it doesn't make any sense because Odell should draw doubles and everything like that, and that you should try to force the ball to Odell. Not as much now as when he was young, but I'm done. I'm done with him. Like, figure it out, man. Like, you're 31. We have like a 2-year, 3-year Super Bowl window, probably closer to 2 years, maybe 1.5. Like, if you're not going to play, get the fuck off my team. So I'm just done with his hamstring, and then it's something else. And then he Instagrammed a picture of the horses racing, and he was the tiger, like laying in the weeds. Like the dude hasn't played, like he hasn't been good in 4 years, and he hasn't really played in 3. So I honestly didn't think this would happen with Odell just because Jarvis was here and everything like that. And we treated him like a king, and they are still treating him like a king. I just can't do it anymore. I'm done. Like I give Schwartz all the snaps. Like let's cut our losses. He's going to be gone at the end of the year anyways. Whatever. So
is he actually 31?
He's upper 20s.
He's only 28. That's not that bad.
I don't know. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins is 31, and I think DeAndre Hopkins is basically double the receiver that Odell is. So, I mean, yes, he theoretically on the right team, he could have.
DeAndre Hopkins only 29. He's only a year older.
No, that's not true.
I looked it up.
First of all, I don't even know why I brought that up because DeAndre Hopkins is a billion times better than him. But yeah, I mean, so. Even so, like Odell, you got 2 more years of being like where you have the chance in the right situation to be like a superstar because you're still only 28. But with this team, with him on it, it's just like, and it almost even to this point, like I will never say that I think Jarvis is like giving up, but like we don't really see like on the sidelines on Sunday. Obviously, it was an intense game, so they weren't just like going to the sidelines. People weren't around Odell. He was flipping his head, the ball up in the air. He was wearing his hat backwards. It's like I gotta say, like Jarvis Landry, his whole thing, the speech when he came in about when they were on Hard Knocks and in that film room, I'm sure you've seen it or you've heard of it.
Yeah.
Where he was like, "We're not doing these injury things anymore." Oh, thanks, person. CUMM. That spells cum. The cum bucket. Who's the cum bucket?
Kaminga.
All right, I know. But yeah, it's just not worth it to me, and it's very frustrating because we could have added another very, very solid piece. And granted, this could all be wrong, and he can come out and have 1,000 yards at the end of the year, and I'll be happy. I just have to go off what the sample size that I have is, and with the Browns, the trade they got him, I think I would just take Peppers back now. And you can keep Odell, Giants. Like I'll take Peppers back. We'll find him a nickelback spot, or he could play the spot that Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is playing right now until JOK is ready to go. So I know he had problems in New York with the media. That's the New York media. We talked about that. People like. Browns fans think this is the season. I'm not entirely sold on it, but trade him, cut him, do something else with him. Like if he's not active for week 3, like I really think you have to start having the conversation. Should we just cut him from this team?
I mean, I think that you wouldn't cut him because somebody would give up something for him. And just like when we talk about NBA, it's always better to get something than nothing for a guy. Even if it's only like a 4th or a 5th round pick, like it's still better than just cutting him and having to eat the salary.
Yeah, and like I said, it's just so frustrating because we all know what he's capable of doing, and he just sits back like a bitch. He really does. He sits back like a little bitch. But yeah, I think it's a must-win game for the Browns. I do think I think it'll be close or close-ish for a half. But I think Nick Chubb's. I from what we saw in Week 1, I think Nick Chubb's the best running back in the league. So
yeah,
it's clearly not fucking Derrick Henry. That guy sucks.
That guy does suck. Screw Derrick Henry.
Yeah, for all you idiots who drafted him in fantasy and we told you not to, we were right.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I'm not gonna lie, in our dynasty league, when I was getting a lot of shit from my friends during the draft when I passed on Derrick Henry for Ezekiel Elliott, especially after Zeke put up a 5. It made me feel a lot better about myself that Derrick Henry only put up like a 9 in week 1.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I was screwed either way, but at least I got the younger, better guy.
Yeah. Yeah. So what about the Jets? Excited for the weekend?
No.
Any optimism?
No. I love the fact that we have the shot of beating the Patriots, but Belichick's had our number now for like 20 years. And Mac Jones didn't look bad. Miami's defense is actually pretty good. The Miami defense. It's going to be, I think, a closer game than people expect.
It is what it is.
It is what it is kind of thing, yeah. It do be like that sometimes, but, I think it'll still be a close game. Like we saw the Jets hang with the Panthers last week, 19-14. I think it could be a very similar score to that, unfortunately. I could see it being another like very low-scoring affair with some garbage time touchdowns to give me some sort of hope in life, just to have them fall flat on their ass at the end of the game.
It's a lot of optimism. Good. Before we get into the bets, I had Washington football team -4 last night. Thank you, Washington football team. You suck.
Yo, they found a way to make Daniel Jones look good there for like 3 quarters. Like, I didn't even think that was possible.
If I'm the Giants, Joe Judge isn't getting on that plane.
Okay, here's
Joe
my
Judge.
thing.
Joe Judge might be. I mean, he's still a little bit away from Hugh Jackson, but he's close. Like, he is legit just not a smart person.
Here's my thing, right? Level with me for a minute here, Justin. How does a former special teams coach turned head coach lose the game because his special teams was out of line? How, if you are a former special teams coach, do you let your guys line up offsides on a game-winning kick?
I wasn't even watching it. I was watching the game cast. So I was like waiting for it to pop up. And all I saw was no good right away. And then I went to the bottom and it was like, oh, offside. And I was like, you got to be kidding me, right? Like, that sucks.
It was not one, but two players lined up offsides, in fact. And I don't understand how you let that happen. And yeah, Joe Judge kind of reminds me of Dan Campbell a little bit. He seems like a lot of talk, no bite. So he's like,
I'm still a fan of Dan Campbell.
I'm not saying I don't like it. I think they're more talk than produce on the field. Judge was talking about, I had him run extra laps after the game, this, that, or the other thing. You know what those extra laps did for Darius Slayton, who had drop problems? Absolutely nothing. There was a side-by-side of week 1 and week 2 drops in the end zone that he had. They were literally identical pictures, just in a different stadium.
Yeah. So,
I don't even know where to go from that. Like, I was a fan of Joe Judge. I thought he did really well last year. I liked his mentality, but now, like, it's looking like he's not going to be a good coach. So why waste the time?
And like, the Jets have kind of played into it more than the Giants have, but I almost think like it's New York and LA. So if you're the Giants, you got to kind of like, they haven't hired anyone like a head coach in a while that like had made a splash like that, but like ripped, like it just rippled. So, and then they go out and they get Joe Judge, who was also like the only other job he was up for. I think it was like the Mississippi State. No, it was the only other job he was up for the Mississippi State job, I think.
I think he also got interviewed one time by the Eagles.
Yeah, so he's just an idiot. Daniel Jones, I mean, he looked okay. Oh.
Maybe not, actually. Now that I'm thinking about that, timeline doesn't fit. Scratch that.
We need to talk. They need to do something about this roughing the passer. It is so bad. Like,
they're playing football. Let them play.
Like, the one, I don't know if it was the first or second quarter, maybe it was later, with the one on Chase Young, because he fell on top of him. Like, what do you want the guy to do?
Right, but between that one, the one last week where, who was it? Smith off the Packers. He hit Jameis Winston, literally textbook football hit, nice and high, wrapped him up and around the shoulders, and just took him down. 2 steps, everything was perfect, and they called it because it was just a clean, good hit, and he fell down hard.
I guess the only other rule that I can say that has basically drawn negative criticism from almost everybody was the challenging the pass interference, and thank God they got rid of that. And to mix college into more than college needs to change their stupid targeting rule. Like, there's a difference between a guy headhunting and a guy that just like is in a different position because the guy had to dive and tackle him or something like that. So they need to do like a 10 or 5 yarder for accidental, like helmet to helmet, and then like if you were headhunting, you can get ejected. Like you can review that, you can get ejected. I get that. That's fine.
Yeah, well, there are 2 levels of targeting. They just don't ever use the first level. They just go straight to the second level where everyone gets kicked out.
And nowadays, when you got these idiots like Gene Steratore, and they sit in the booth and like they read the rules, and it's like the NFL rules are so bad that like the rule, like I hate, because Gene Steratore always does it. Like when there's a challenge play or something like that, Gene Steratore will always be like, well, by the wording of the rule, it's like, yeah, well, you can write any rule that like you can word it differently to make different things work. So it's not consistent. Like I'm not even mad at like referees. It's just come to a point where it's just dumb. Like they had like that guy that threw that flag on Chase Young had to throw that flag and be like, I mean, this sucks. Like this just sucks. He hit him. Like, so they need to do something about it. Personally, I think they like especially basketball and football. Basketball, football, but like obviously separately, they need to come together and do like maybe in like 2025, do like go through the rule book and do like not do it over, but like revise things, because it's getting out of hand. No one knows what rules are. You don't know what's going to be called and what's not going to be called, and then you're as a player, you're just like, you almost play scared because you don't know what you're allowed to do and what you're not to. So I'm sorry I went on that rant, but I mean, like my dad, like I'll complain about referees all the time. And like my dad will be like, no, they're right. They're right. Like he was astonished at that call last night. So,
I mean, like it's the same as it's the same fight as what was a catch and what was not a couple of years ago. And people still don't know what a catch is. Like the whole thing was every single play basically had its own rule book on every single catch, and that's what people didn't like. They tried to normalize it a little bit, and they did do a better job. But even now, you can't tell me what the rule is for a catch on, say, the 1 yard line, and what's a touchdown and what's not, because
I mean, and you guys can go to replay all you want, but unless you have someone there explaining it to me, like
and it's the dumbest thing, because like part of me is like, yeah, if the guy's in the end zone, he should have it. Like if they're in the end zone and he catches it out of bounds and his feet are in, that's a catch. But like if you're at the 1 yard line and you get your feet in, but the ball is still on the 1 yard line, then it shouldn't be a touchdown. But at the same time, it could be, and then there's a whole fight over whether or not. So now it's like, okay, it's whether if the ball extends over or if anyone's body part extends over. So why wouldn't everyone just do like a little side jump kick into the end zone to guarantee that they cross the plane? Like it's just the whole thing with the rules in the NFL, they really need to sit down 1 year and be like, okay, these are the new rules. This is what's going to happen. You have to call for these, and these, and that's it. Like everything else, you got to just go about and let them play the game. Like it's getting too confusing, and it's getting to the point where even the fan base doesn't know what's going on. And that's when you start losing fans.
I mean, I don't think the NFL is ever be in trouble like that, like losing fans. But I mean, the on-field play has become better, and I guess we don't take this into consideration a lot. Like players are getting faster and faster all the time, and bigger all the time. So yes, do the refs deserve a little bit of leeway, because like it's a fast game and you want to make sure people aren't dying out there. So yeah, I give them a break for that. But still, then just find some consistency and don't make it dumb. All right.
Enough ranting from us.
Yeah. That was just one thing that like I feel like I was just like we need to talk about this, because like I feel like everyone out there kind of agrees that it's just honestly, I think if you ask most of the quarterbacks, they would be like, yeah, I mean, they're protecting me too much. I mean, no one's gonna say they're protecting. Well, I don't know. Baker Mayfield probably wouldn't say he's getting protected too much, and like. But Tom Brady.
Neither would Zach Wilson.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, yeah.
For different reasons.
So into our NFL picks. This is my lock it up parlay. Let's rock parlay. Tell me where this loses, Tom. Saints
Okay.
minus 3.5. Browns money line. Minnesota, Arizona over 50.5. Cowboys +3.
Who do the Cowboys play?
Chargers.
If anything, it'll be there. But I do think that's a really solid line.
Yeah, that's
a really solid parlay.
I will say, everybody out there, when I do my picks, I have my own bookie. So I do say out the lines I get. I guess I will start saying now, because obviously my bookie's not going to be that much different from like Bovada or anything other by more than like half a point or whatever. So I could obviously say different lines. And there are some games that I will mention that will say like that half a point makes a difference. But we'll get to that when we get to it. But yeah, I love that parlay. I think I got it at like plus 2,200 or something. So I don't know. But yeah, that's a fun one. Tommy, you got one? I don't know.
I don't, man. Like
I just figured I'd put you on there.
I don't do parlays because I'm in so many fantasy football leagues that that's enough betting for me every week.
This could be a teaser for our Sunday show, but like yesterday for 30 minutes, like actually 30 minutes, I went through like each of the teams, each of my fantasy teams, and was like, okay. You'll be happy to know I took Aaron Rodgers out of my starting lineup. I'm going with Russell Wilson this week.
You probably should for a while now.
Nope. Because you know what's going to happen this week? Russell Wilson's going to have a shit game, and Aaron Rodgers is going to go off against the Lions. So,
I forgot he's playing the Lions.
So yeah, but
yeah, I'm staying away from telling you how to set your lineup. I'm not doing it.
I think I'm predicted to win in 3 out of the 4. I think we're predicted to win in the one team we have. I think the only one we are. Oh, we are. Then we're predicted to lose. I'm predicted to lose too because I'm predicted to lose in your league and then I guess in our league.
We have a 37% chance of winning right now.
All right. Well, I'm becoming a king at fantasy, so
lovely.
All right. So my picks, NFL picks. Like I said, these lines will. You know what? NFL lines end up don't changing that much unless a player gets hurt or you or someone's out. But whatever. I was 3-3 in my NFL picks last week, which the day started out like I was going to go 0-for-6, and then the Browns covers. Okay, I didn't go 0-for-6, but somehow I got all 3 because I did forget that I had a couple like first half plays. I'm just going to say it. I am all in on Kyler Murray. I've always loved him, but I actually went back and watched the highlights from that Titans game for the first time yesterday. He doesn't have the top end speed, like 0 to 60. I think that like Lamar Jackson probably has. But he's the closest thing to like a video game player since Mike Vick. Because Kyler Murray can really still throw in real life and in Madden, he's pretty good still too. But yeah, I mean Kyler, I'm all in on that team. Christian Kirk is awesome. DeAndre Hopkins is probably going to have like a touchdown a game. So in that defense, I mean, if they can play half as well as they did again, if Chandler Jones maybe instead of getting like 5 sacks, he just gets 1, like that's huge because then I would assume J.J. Watt hopefully comes around. That defense, by the way, I didn't realize how many young, like interesting, intriguing players they have. Isaiah Simmons is the strong safety. I think he's going to be really good.
Is he strong safety?
Yeah,
I thought it was Buda Baker was strong safety.
Well, he plays like the.
I know in Madden they're both listed as strong safeties. I just don't know which one's starting.
He plays more like what Owusu-Koramoah plays, like that.
Gotcha. Okay.
Linebacker. He was a guy from Clemson.
Yeah, I remember him. I liked him. I still like him.
He's awesome. They got Byron Murphy out of Washington in the corner. He in the slot. He is awesome. Buda Baker's awesome. They should trade Buda Baker for Tyrann Mathieu. Get him back to Arizona. But no, I just love Tyrann Mathieu. But yeah, so that'll be fun. But yeah, that's my picks. So my picks: Arizona -4 versus the Vikings. It's in Minnesota. This seems like a rat to me because I think it's too easy. But I really just do think Arizona's offense.
Yeah, I'm
I
kind of
think
surprised
Arizona's
it's only
gonna
4
surprise-
points.
Yeah, I think the Cardinals are going to make the playoffs, and I think they might win a game or two. That's what I'm gonna say right now. Like, I am all in on the Cardinals. Like, I love my Browns, obviously, but like my NFC team is the 100% the Cardinals, and I'm not a bandwagon guy. Considering I've said I love Kyler Murray forever, and it's only because he's short.
It's only because he's short.
But yeah, I go ahead.
No. I'm saying all right.
Yeah, and then their running game. I mean, they use basically backfield by committee in the. All right, so I was watching the highlights yesterday. I want you just to go watch it after this. Just like it's, I think it's the Kyler Murray effect. Their whole team looks small, like small people. Like DeAndre Hopkins is only 6 foot, but he looks really small. Like, go watch it, and especially the jerseys they were wearing on Sunday. They look like short players. All of them are short. It was just weird. It was funny. But yeah, like I said, the Vikings couldn't do anything. I mean, the Vikings lost the Bengals last week. I don't think the Bengals are going to be that good. But Joe Burrow played great, and Kyler Murray's a better quarterback than Joe Burrow. So I like that. Great segue, Justin. All right, do you want to comment on that game? Do you have your own picks?
I'm going to let you roll right now.
Okay. Great transition. I like the Bengals 2.5 plus 2.5 versus the Bears. It's in Chicago, but I mean, let's be honest. Matt Nagy's an idiot. He hasn't announced Justin Fields is going to start this week, so I assume it's going to be Andy Dalton again. And I'm assuming that it's Justin Fields will see the Wildcat formation like 5 or 6 times. So if Andy Dalton's still starting for these guys, I mean, the Bengals could win by like 10, I think, 10, 15.
As long as Andy Dalton is starting, the players on the Bears are not going to be playing as hard because everyone knows, like the fans know, the upper management knows, and the players know Justin Fields is the better fit for that team. Andy Dalton signing was a mistake.
Yeah. So, I mean, Matt Nagy be better. The next one, you're probably not going to like this. And I got to say, I don't love this pick, but I think I'm on to something. I like the Dolphins plus 3.5 versus the Bills. I thought about the money line. It's in Buffalo, so I didn't want to go that. I'm not going to say Josh Allen's overrated because that's crazy because I think he's very good. He is very mistake prone. Like I would say Baker Mayfield is wealthy, but Josh Allen is like rich kind of. Yes. Like he's going to make those dumbass mistakes. He's going to make those dumbass mistakes. Like Josh Allen's going to throw an interception like Baker threw last week. Not entirely your fault, but also could have been completely avoided had you just thought ahead. Their running game was non-existent last week. And they didn't play Zach Moss. I have not heard anything about Zach Moss.
The only thing I've heard about Zach Moss is that they're trying to keep the reason he sat out under reps. They don't want that getting out, apparently. So I'm very concerned for what that means. Yeah. So I think – I don't know. Maybe I did mention this last week. Or I didn't probably because I was probably still really high on the Bills. And I am still high on the Bills. I think the Browns are better than the Bills. I will say that. I think they are. But I think we've kind of overhyped the Bills. They almost remind me a little bit. I mean, they're obviously going to be better than when Freddie Kitchens took over. Because, I mean, you can't be that bad. And Josh Allen is good enough to just win you a couple. Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, and Tre'Davious White are good enough to win you a couple games. But like I said, I like the Dolphins here. I think the Dolphins defense is very good. They have 2 really, really good corners who are, Stephon Diggs, double them up if you want to. And then they really don't have
that many other people to pass to, except for Gabriel Davis, who's solid, and then Emmanuel Sanders, who's also solid, getting older. But that really doesn't matter because he's okay now. But
I think Cole Beasley led the team in receptions, or at least
I
led
don't
him in
talk about
yards.
Cole Beasley just because I hate Cole Beasley. But yeah, no, he used to be good. I don't know, whatever. Slot receivers, and this is like a knock against me almost because probably, I mean, God, I was a slot receiver. I mean, you basically need to know how to run go routes, slant routes, and out routes, and hitches and curls.
And drag routes.
Yeah, or you could just be Tyreek Hill in the slot and just, not a straight line, just a diagonal line. Yeah. So, but yeah, I like the Bills. Or I don't like the Bills. I think the Bills are a little bit overhyped. I think they could start 0-2. I still would predict them to win, not to win the Super Bowl. I still would predict them, even if they do start 0-2, to make the playoffs. And this isn't a knock against you. They should probably, if they lose this one, I think they will lose this one. They're going to end up going 5-1 in the division. Probably they're going to beat the Jets twice.
No, they should sweep the division, but I agree. After the loss last week,
they can't sweep the division if they're going to lose to this weekend.
That's what I'm trying to say. They should sweep the division, but after the loss last week and the fact that they don't look ready to play football, yeah, they could lose this week.
And the weirdest thing about the Bills is I went back and looked at the stats of what the Steelers did and who was good. The Steelers weren't that good that day. They just outplayed them and got that block punt. And then obviously TJ Watt and that defense is really, really good. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. Another one that you're probably going to be happy with, or I don't know, maybe you will. This actually, I would say, bodes well to the favor of the Jets. I like the Jets, the Pats under 42.5. I think that's only the only way the Jets can win this one. Their defense has to play really well. And granted, this isn't their defense is good. I like the Jets defense. And this isn't Tom Brady and Wes Welker and not Wes Welker, Julian Edelman. Yeah, I guess. Well, Wes Welker, yeah, too. Julian Edelman, I mean, they're all the same goddamn player. Julian Edelman. It's not them anymore. It's Mac Jones thrown to Nelson Aguilar and Jonnu Smith. I think their defense is pretty darn good. But I do think it's going to be one of the. I guess I don't watch it every year now, but now that you're with me, I'll probably watch it. We do our thing. I haven't watched it in a couple of years, but I would think this is probably going to be it might be ugly and it might be sloppy. But at times, that's how worst teams have to win. No offense. It's just kind of how you got to win.
No, 100%. I'm not upset at all with your selection of the under. I actually think that's a great one to add to your ticket to boost the odds because, like I said, this is going to be a really close, contested game, I feel. And, it could end up being exactly like the Panther game last week for the Jets, where they put up some points late, but neither team scored over 20. I could really see that happening again.
And I will also say, if it is a low-scoring game, I trust – that's hard to say, actually. I'm not going to say that because I'm probably even on the both of them because Mac Jones played for Alabama, so it's different. I would say I trust him on a game-winning – I would say I trust Zach Wilson on a game-winning drive more, but I don't know. I think they kind of level out for me just because he went to Alabama, but he's not as good. But he went to Alabama, so he knows how to do things. And then Zach Allen's very, very talented, but went to BYU, maybe not. So, but yeah, like I said, I just want competitive football games. And hey, anytime, if I'm obviously out there cheering for the Browns this year, I'm cheering for the Cardinals, and then my third favorite team is whoever's playing the Patriots. So yeah, hopefully it's a good one. Two more. I like the Dallas. I was surprised. I think it's up to 56 now at least because on my book I got it early yesterday afternoon at 55. I don't see how this doesn't go over. These teams are both pretty good. They have average defenses, and they both have really, really good quarterbacks, and those quarterbacks all have really, really good weapons around them. So over 55 seems pretty easy to me. Granted, this isn't college. You're not scoring 49 to 48 usually.
Right.
But I think over 55 is the play here. I expect Justin Herbert wasn't great in week 1. I expect him to bounce back pretty well this week. And then, Dak and the Cowboys putting up points last week to almost beat the defending Super Bowl champions. So I think their offense is good to go. I will say I do think that the Chargers might have trouble stopping Ezekiel Elliott, but the Cowboys also need to just figure the hell out, like how much they want to use him, where they want to use him, because he's not old, but he's getting to a point where like he's still exceptional, but you need to find the right place for him to be exceptional, in my opinion.
Right.
And then the last one, I'm just riding this one just because I think this would be like I love Zach and all our Flurry Sports people. I do. But after watching the saga that was Aaron Rodgers this offseason, and if it would just turn into like an absolute terrible thing, like they start 0-2, it would be awesome. The only reason I'm taking Lions plus 11, just because I think San Francisco is actually probably better than Green Bay. Granted, a lot of what happened with Dan Campbell is they just really didn't give up. And I do think that's going to be a trait of Dan Campbell teams is they're just not going to give up. So they're always going to try and keep it close. So any double-digit spread against them, unless it's like the Bucks maybe or something like that, I'm always going to take the Lions because they're going to play hard. Jared Goff's not the greatest quarterback, but he doesn't make a ton of mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they have a murderer on their team. That's always good if you ever want to just,
he's going to go out and kill the competition.
Yeah. Or, hey, buddy, you step in the end zone, I got a knife hidden in my sock. So, but I like the Lions plus 11. And then, like I said, my parlay, Saints minus 3.5, Browns money line, Minnesota, Arizona over 50.5, Cowboys plus 3. And then, like you said, Tom, I already put mine in, locked it in, but I would add 42.5 under in the New York Jets, the Patriots game.
I like that. I really do think that that's something that is doable with that one.
Any lines you like, or you want me to just get my card and then we'll get out of here?
You could give your card. I don't have specific picks because I just do a weekly pick 'em or whatever. So I'll
do my card and then we'll get out of here. Yeah, I know you don't have a card, but if you want to, feel free. So the overall record is 23-18. That means I went 14. I had a big card last week. Remember, I went 14-8 last week, which is pretty darn good, especially for me. And my upset picks, obviously these aren't full upset picks, but these are also usually just the underdogs. 2-0 in those. And then my locks, I'm 1-1. So I'm just going to read these off. Questions, let me know, or whatever. I'll recap some of them that I think people should really do. Like I said earlier, this is a must-have for me. I really think Michigan State money line versus Miami at Miami. I really like Mel Tucker has made Michigan State into they've always been a defensive-minded team, but their offense is better and more diverse than it used to be. And Miami players just have to be at the point, I think, where if they get down early, they're just going to give up. They don't care. They're going to give up. And then it's only going to get worse when you run Kenneth Walker at 264 yards versus a good Northwestern team or a good Northwestern defense. Well, good Northwestern secondary. But yeah, I really, really think people should hop on that. I love it. I love it. Temple plus 15 versus Boston College. Temple's not that good. They killed Akron last week. So I'm just kind of riding the wave with them. Boston College's quarterback got hurt last week. Phil Jurkovec. He's out for the season, so they won't have their quarterback. I think that's a really good line. I wouldn't surprise me if that's down to 14. Anyone who doesn't take this, I think this is only going to go up. As soon as I placed this yesterday, it was already almost up to 22.5. I got it at 22, luckily. Oklahoma minus 22 versus Nebraska. You got your old school football, but it's not old school football. This game should have been played 40 years ago. Like I said earlier, I think this is the end of – okay, it's not the end. Well, you never know. It's the Pony – it could be like the Pony Express, maybe SMU. Maybe I don't know. Maybe they just become a basketball school. Yeah. All those guys out there, in the cornfields love to shoot hoops.
Baseball school.
Another yeah. I bet baseball would be really fun in Iowa. I bet there are a lot of cool little league stadiums. Another team I'm riding the wave with, Wyoming -7 versus Ball State. Ball State's going to Wyoming. Obviously they're college athletes, but most MAC teams aren't usually going, it's 4-hour flight to Wyoming to play in Wyoming up in the mountains. I think it's a tough place to play. I think, like I said, Akron is god awful and Temple beat them pretty easily. But I like I said, I like Wyoming over Ball State. And then like I said earlier, I've been going back and forth with these all weekend, but I've decided to just lock in on it. I'm going Florida plus 14.5 and then the over of 60.5. I think that over is going to go up. I would hop on that as soon as you could. And unfortunately, I only think this spread is going to go up. So we'll see. But whatever. Interesting one, but I like Wake Forest -4 versus Florida State. If you've ever been knocked out in a football game, that was them last weekend versus Jacksonville State. They have to have absolutely no energy. Wake Forest is shockingly okay. We might have one of their players on later this year. He's from my hometown. He plays running back. I don't know how much he plays. But I had talked to him. Obviously, I didn't tell him to throw the game or anything. Wink, wink. But yeah, Wake Forest's defense is actually pretty good. Their offense, I feel like a lot of people, when you think of Wake Forest, they think of the ACC, and then they just automatically think it's Vanderbilt because they have kind of the same colors. It's not. Like I said, I like Wake, and I think another team that why is Mike Norvell has been there for 3 years now. Why is he still around? Your Florida State, you should be competing for a national championship every year. So I just don't get it. The other big game, Auburn, I like Auburn plus 5.5, and I like the under 52.5. I didn't mention it earlier, but the whiteout crowd, like I said, if you haven't seen it before, it's going to be crazy. It is going to make a difference. It really does make a difference. If you want to see how much of a difference it makes, go search on YouTube Penn State whiteout versus Michigan. Michigan, I think it was Shea Patterson was still there, so I don't know who, 4 years ago. Walked on the field, the first play, tried to get the play going. It was, they were playing Bamba or Mo Bamba too. Or yeah, that's what they're called. I forgot what the song's called.
Bamba.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's loud. It makes a difference. It makes a difference. And Bo Nix, we already know, has trouble. Well, actually, I'm hoping for Auburn to win. So I'm hoping for Auburn to cover. So Bo Nix is going to be great. No, I really just think Penn State's offense is that bad.
It is awful.
Gonna rock my UNC -8.5 this week. I think this is. I know we talked about him a little bit earlier. I think this is Sam Hill. These next until the end of the regular season. This is his time to put up the numbers. They don't have a tough schedule. Like I said, I think people have fallen on Rattler a little bit. If Sam Howell wants to go out and prove he's the number one pick, he has the chance to do it in these next 7-8 weeks. So, and I think he's really good. So, yeah. And then the last one before I get to my lock and upset, I like Arizona State -3.5 versus BYU. I feel like every year BYU and Utah are like either in the top 25 or ranked near the 25 or just outside of it. And then like the BYU will be like not Iowa this year, but like Iowa on a regularly year, like, you know, an average Iowa team. And then they'll play each other, and whichever team wins that game gets ranked in the 20th and 23rd. And we really don't know anything about them because they both played nobody's week one, and then they played each other. And then so I don't think BYU's that good. Granted, all the guys that are quarterbacks there are like have 17 children and are already 35. So, but replacing a guy like Zach Wilson is not easy. And their offensive line, which at least one or two got drafted. So that's a transition. I just don't think Utah was that good this year. I think they were overrated. I think if anything, Utah might be one of the worst Pac-12 teams this year.
Didn't BYU also lose a running back? Now I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. I can't remember. We talked.
What is his name? We talked about.
I know all the time we did too. I can't believe I don't remember the lineman's name too. The left tackle, Algier. It's like Algier. Yeah.
Tyler Algier. Yeah.
And then I'm trying to look up the
I'm just gonna look at
Brady Christensen was the offensive line player. Yeah, he went like the second round, I think.
Yeah, he was good.
Yeah,
I thought the Jets were gonna take him with one of their second round picks.
Yeah, I don't know how he's doing this year because it's obviously hard to kind of, if you're not a tackle, it's hard to kind of put a value on your blocking.
He was taken in the third round. There were actually a lot more BYU players that were taken in the draft than I realized.
Oh, I've never said that BYU doesn't have a good program. I think they kind of cheat because honestly, their quarterbacks are like 25. But, you know, it is what it is. I like Arizona State. Herm Edwards, they had a tumultuous offseason. And Herb Edwards has kind of kept closed doors, and it's not really, and he's kind of just lurking in the shadows right now. And I think that's exactly what Arizona State needs. I believe Jaden Daniels is still there.
Chris Wilcox. He's also got drafted this year.
Who?
Chris Wilcox. I think he's a corner. I want to say he's on the Jets.
Nice. Jaden Daniels came in the same time as Bo Nix. Has been way better than Bo Nix in both phases of the game. Just under the radar out there at Arizona State, probably doing cocaine all the time.
He's actually. I lied. I knew his name from somewhere. He was drafted by the Buccaneers.
Okay.
And he's currently on the Colts. Okay. I was close. I knew he was somewhere. I think the Jets brought him onto the practice squad. I don't know.
All right. So Arizona State -3.5 versus BYU. Like I said, Jaden Daniels is the man. My lock of the week. Very confident in this one. I just don't think Indiana's good. I like Cincinnati -4 at Indiana. I just don't see how the Hoosiers are able to keep up with them. And then, let's be honest, it's not like Indiana's going to have they'll have a lot of people there, but it's not a football stadium where you really get intimidated. So, I really like them. I honestly really like them. I think Cincinnati can win by 14, 17 points. And then my upset special, I know I've been talking about it all week, and oddly enough, some professional and some podcasts I've listened to have also hopped on this little train with me. So it's not just me cheering for the hometown team. Kent State's offense is legit. They have an NFL quarterback, Dustin Crum. He will get drafted. I think he will get drafted. If he doesn't get drafted, he will be in the NFL next year. He is good. He's from Ohio. Their offense and Sean Lewis, remember that name? He's their coach. He's basically turned that program around incredibly. 4 or 5 years ago, Kent State, we could go back to the 2005s, 2006s. They were one of the worst teams in the country. But even 4 or 5 years ago, they weren't. Sean Lewis has done an incredible job there. Crum, like I said, is good. They have good skill position players. and they can score with anybody. And yes, I think they can score with Iowa's offense. Iowa's defense is good, but at the same time, Iowa's defense has had 3 pick sixes this year. That's just a stat that's not like you can't do that consistently. Like you can't bet on that consistently. So like I said, I like Kent State a lot, plus 22.5. I might, if you start, if they go into half and it's close, I would sprinkle maybe a little bit on the money line. Don't be an idiot, and if you like need to save money, don't be an idiot like that. But I might sprinkle a little bit. Like I said, their offense is good. Their defense is not, but I'm not as worried because I don't think Iowa's offense is Iowa's offense might be worse than Purdue, or not Purdue's, and Indiana's. So I really actually do like Kent State plus 22.5. They're legit. They're good. And then now that I've said all this, hopefully they cover that, A, and B, I'm going to send this clip to my guy at Kent State, and maybe he'll give us an interview with Dustin Crum.
That'd be good.
All right. Anything regarding football? Anything for you, Tom?
Not off the top of my head. I think we're gonna have some good games, and I'm excited to watch them tomorrow. I'm actually gonna take some time and watch them because I've been getting ahead of my homework for once.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, so make sure you go listen and download to the regular Man to Man podcast, our weekly podcast episode where we basically just review. I would say 95% we review the NFL games, and then we try and maybe get into a little bit of college football, and we kind of just get out of there. But that's why we kind of go over it this week and everything. But I do my power ranks and everything like that. But yes, we'll be back again next Wednesday to record probably around the same time. Obviously, it'll all be posted. However, the bigger news is we are back again on Sunday morning at 11 a.m. With our Man-to-Man contest, our Man-to-Man podcast, Fantasy Sunday. We'll be going live at 11 a.m. You know what? I might even turn mine on at 10:30. The live stream, just because you might be able to catch it. You'll want to laugh because if it's close and United, I'll just go ahead and turn my live stream on while I'm watching that, and you guys can just watch me freak out as they lose. But yes, we are going to be live definitely from 11 until kickoff, possibly a little bit after kickoff, even though now that my team, I think both of our teams play at 1 this week, probably not going to stay much longer than kickoff, but we had some great questions last week. Hoping to get more. Tell your friends we're here to help you guys out. I think we're going to try and get Zach Brunner on for about 10 minutes. He's one of the bigger fantasy experts out there, I would say. He's our boss at Flurry, and he knows what he's talking. Him and Tom know what the hell they're talking about when they talk about fantasy. Well, clearly I do too now because my teams are awesome. That I only drafted by myself.
100%.
Honestly, in my leagues, I did draft the 3 teams, and then we double drafted the 1. But yes, definitely come in with questions. Stardom, we'll get through everything. I'm going to join in this time. I will be doing Stardom, Sit-em, Pit, or whatever. We'll also going to incorporate a little more DFS than we did last week, just because I'm kind of figuring it out now. We'll basically, maybe give you some steals you might be able to get for anything like that. But yeah, definitely come out and join us and then interact with us. Like I said,
we try to answer all questions.
Yeah, you can just honestly comment and tell me you hate me. That's fine. I still love you, but you can hate me. That's fine. It's going to be fun. We had a lot of fun last time, and we're going to get through. My teams went 2-2. Tom, what did your teams go last week? If it's a bad record, we're going to cut this part.
500, I believe. I think I was.
Right, so we both went 500.
My dynasty.
I was hoping for better for you, Tom, but okay. So we clearly know what we're doing.
I got killed with injury.
Yeah.
Killed with injury. Mustard made it so I was not going 500. I'm also in I think 8 leagues total, so it's hard to keep track of everything. And when I say I went 500, my one lineup I set plays 2 different rosters, so I have 8 games going on for my 32 team dynasties. So it's brutal.
Yeah, I guess so. It's
tough out here for a pimp.
It is. I say that all the time to myself and my dog. Yeah, I'll try to get a little more DFS. Any last minute gambling picks? You know what? Actually, we are going to incorporate in on Sunday just a little bit, maybe 5 minutes player props, just because those are fun, and throw a couple bucks on them, get you interested in the game. Most sites are build your own props at this point, but we'll use MyBookie. I'll use MyBookie, and we'll obviously have Bovada sharing, see what they have and everything like that. And like I said, just check in with us. Like I said, I'll be posting updates. But as always, you can download, listen, and everything like that to our podcast on Spotify. I think it's on Apple Music. I think it's on Google Music. I know it's on Spotify. But definitely listen to it, like it, subscribe it. If you keep liking the videos, like the videos. Also, subscribe. I really don't care. I don't know what any of that means other than the like part. So if you like it, like it. If you don't, don't. Yeah. So we'll give predictions on Sunday. But yeah, other than that, good pick 'em Friday. Hoping to have a good year. Having a good week. I mean, my Wi-Fi is now bad, so we're gonna wrap it up. Tom, any last words, buddy?
Let's go Dogs. I mean, gotta live life.
Right. Definitely tune in on Sunday, though. Tune in on Sunday. I'll release this afternoon with a link for Sunday. So, all right, guys, we'll see you on Sunday morning. Go Manchester United.